Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Friday, April 29th, 2022 by Gaia Blooming. I'm Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I align my actions with my values. And today we have our day before the eclipse and there's still a lot of astro going on for us to look at today. We have Pluto going retrograde. There's no accidents. Like I said, every step in the dance of astro counts. So Pluto going retrograde the day before the eclipse, which is setting us up for a Scorpio eclipse. And Scorpio is co-ruled by Pluto and Mars. This is pertinent. This is important. We also have another important thing. We have Mercury moving into Gemini. So we're going to have Mercury at 29 degrees through a decent part of the day, and then moving into, did I say Gemini? Mercury at 29 degrees Taurus. Sorry, I'm not sure exactly what I said, but Mercury at 29 Taurus until 3:23 p.m. Pacific time, and then shifting to that 0 degrees Gemini energy. And I will say this, 29 degree Mercury is mischief. 0 degree Mercury is mischief. And then Mercury in Gemini doubles down the mischief. And we do have Mercury in the shadow pre-retrograde. So the Mercury mischief is high. And our mental energy can really support us in these eclipses. So we have a lot to look at today. Let's look at Pluto retrograde. So Pluto will be going retrograde. It is going retrograde at 28 degrees Capricorn. It will be retrograde until October 8th. And it's only getting to 26 degrees. So 28, 27, 26, if you have Capricorn, anything there at Capricorn, those degrees, Libra, Aries, Cancer, you may feel this retrograde action as it rolls like a steamroller over you. Those Pluto squares, they are intense. If you are going through that at all, if you are like early 80s birthday, you may be feeling this. That being said, Pluto retrograde, any planet retrograde, it's not a call for chaos. It's not a call for like, oh no, it's retrograde. Mercury can bring that out just because Mercury mischief. But every planet, almost every planet, a majority of the planets go retrograde every year. We go through this, we have since we're little. It is a calling within. Pluto going retrograde is remembering to source our power from within. Now, I'm so excited because I got this really cool new deck. It's called the Aliman Tarot. And I was interested in it because it had a lot of extra cards and like double cards of things. And sometimes you just need like a lot of resources. And I pulled a card specifically for Mercury retrograde. And sorry, not Mercury retrograde, Pluto retrograde. The mischief has got me. I am part of the mischief. I pulled the Thing Among Reflections. And I am so loving this. And I feel like we have an opportunity to really dig into this between Chiron working in Aries and this Pluto retrograde. I'm feeling both of those energies in this. I'm going to read you actually directly from the little write-up. I read this card as a direct disconnect between you and how you think of yourself. Your anxiety that what you see in the mirror is somehow not you. Disassociation, separation of self from the vessel. As advice, I see it as a reminder that there's nothing else that can live for you. That line right there. There is nothing else that can, will, should live for you. You must do it yourself. That right there, that is calling back in your power. You must do it yourself. Who you see in the mirror is in fact you, even when it doesn't look like it. You know, there's a lot of ways we could go with that. But the thing is nobody's going to hand you back your power. Nobody's going to show up in responsibility. That's part of that Capricorn energy. The responsibility of living is all yours. Now, we're taught to give away that authority. We're taught to give away that power. But this retrograde, these final degrees of Capricorn that we're going to be rolling back and forth over like the next 2 or so years are calling us to remember this, to remember the authority of our personal power. And that's what you want to be inspecting over these next few months of Pluto retrograde. Where am I placing my power? Is it in me, or am I handing it away? Now, here's an example. Here's a really great example. And I've done this, and I'm sure a lot of us have done this, and there's no shame. It's just all learning, right? For instance, going to a healer and, being healed. Okay, that's wonderful. Healers are wonderful. They do amazing work. And yet, with the work they do comes work that we must do on ourselves. Ultimately, you must take the responsibility for continuing or taking the steps in your personal healing. This is like going and getting an astrology reading and me being like, well, blah, 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 this is what's going on. You have the responsibility to rise up to your highest lessons in this. Astrology, just because, this is so good to remember, just because there's a fantastic aspect happening doesn't mean, oh, we got a little wolf creature who wants to drink my tea. Look at this little wolf. Not so little wolf. Anyway, if there's a fantastic aspect, it doesn't mean that the magic is just going to bless you, right? Like, there is action, there is power, there is responsibility that you take. And this is all part of you taking this energy back. So there's a lot of power in this Pluto retrograde. The outward work isn't being pushed as much. It is inner work. Now, in and through this, which I love as well, we will have Pluto going back over the United States Pluto degree, Plutonic, colonic. However, with this retrograde, it is a reminder what I do in here affects everything that's out there. So keep that awareness as we move through this retrograde. Very powerful, but as a reminder, no one else can live for you. I was like, that worth the whole deck. What are you doing? Mischief. The Mercury mischief lives here with me. All right, so that's one of the things. Pluto retrograde. Again, unless you have really strong Plutonic chart, or, Pluto right on top of you right now, or swearing something, chances are you won't necessarily feel that retrograde. But chances are you'll feel some of this Mercury energy. Mercury moving into Gemini, like I said, 3:23 p.m. Mercury will be going retrograde May 10th. So we are coasting into this retrograde process. Mercury in Gemini. Well, let's start at Mercury 29 Taurus. Mercury 29 Taurus. Being very aware mentally of our values. This feeds in so well with the eclipse in Taurus. I would also say this 29 Mercury can spike the energies. It can spike anxiety. It can spike electrical feelings in the body. Taking time to get grounded, very important. Taurus always reminds us that. Settle into the physical, and in through this. Watch the spinning of your mind, but as your mind moves and spins, there may be a clatter over there as the mischief happens. As the mind spins, take time to be aware of where your mind is going. We are called to lean into Taurus energy, nature, yin, pleasure, beauty, knowing our worth, all of that. However, the opposite side of the coin can always come up. Lack of pleasure, lack of worth, lack of value, lack of money. That all feeds into that Scorpio energy, the fear energy. Watch your fears. This Mercury retrograde is going to have us being very aware of when we are aligning our energy in the direction we want to move in, and when we are aligning with the fears. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't go there. It doesn't mean that you don't tend to that. That's part of that Pluto retrograde, that you can show up for that and tend to those wounds. But watch where you are feeding the fears in the world, in those fear tornadoes, in yourself, your own fear chaos as it comes up. How can you nurture and nourish and tend to these things? How can you trust in the earth? How can you trust in presence. So, Mercury and Gemini, running the hamster wheels. Being aware, being mindful is going to be very important. And notice where your mind works for you and where your mind sells you out. I say this often in readings for people. Your mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy. How are you training your mind? How are you guiding your mind? How are you treating your mind? Are you letting your mind be your best friend, or are you kind of pushing it to the worst enemy place? So awareness of that is very, very important. One more shift that we also have the moon moving out of Aries and into Taurus, preparing us for the eclipse on Saturday. I will be doing a video for that, don't worry. Moon finishing up in Aries could be reactive, especially as these eclipse energies come in. Emotionally reactive, physically reactive as well, especially as the moon will square Pluto in the afternoon, 2:38 p.m. Pacific time. We've got that square with Pluto. Pluto, is it retrograde at that point? Yes. Pluto goes retrograde officially at 11:38 a.m. apparently. So, yeah, Pluto will be retrograde. Check your power. If somebody out here is triggering you, there is power being handed over. In this moment, you can call it back. So be aware of that. If you are feeling reactive, what is it? What's the reaction? Where is it? Where is it coming from? Moon into Taurus. Whew. Settle in, get grounded, know your worth, self-care, all really important as we build into this eclipse. Like I said, it's going to be in the afternoon on Saturday. Well, it depends where you live, but in the United States, it's going to be in the afternoon on Saturday. It brings intensity. Eclipses are wonderful portals of downloads and energies, but it can bring intensity. So hold space for any intensity, especially if it's, where you're at. So I just pulled some cards now. Where can you be the lighthouse for yourself in this? And I think this is calling in that mind, and it's also calling in that Pluto direct energy, because there are definitely some places where you need to call that power back, where you are feeding it outside of yourself, where you're not being true to yourself, and where you're trained to old ideals, old ways of being. That being said, so much healing in this energy. I love the healing. This is also the King of Cups. There may be emotions present. You got to let yourself move through it. The final card that I have is the Traveling card. It's in reverse. To me, this is like get grounded. This whole process is going to be very expansive. I touched the toy. The whole process is going to be very expansive. You may not feel it yet. You may be feeling a little squished by these energies. That's okay. It doesn't mean that in the long run that it's not going to be like, whoa, right? All right, so that's it for today. You can book a reading with me. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. I will come back for the eclipse reading tomorrow. Look for that. Besides all this, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and honor your values. Namaste.